It's a bonus edition of the Book Club for Kids. Hi, I'm Kitty Felde. Last week, we talked about The Bicycle Spy, written by Yona Zeldis McDonough. This week, we talked to Yona about how ballet relates to writing and how to handle rejection. Yona, in your earlier life, you were a dancer. So what is the relationship between the discipline of dancing and the discipline of writing?
I was neither good enough nor driven enough to be a professional ballet dancer. And I kind of knew that by the time I was like 16 or 17. I didn't say it to myself, but I knew it. And I stopped doing it. And what I do regret is that it was like all or nothing. I still could have taken classes and not had a professional track in mind, but I didn't. I walked away from it totally. It was a wonderful, wonderful, what do I want to call it? Like apprenticeship. And it did teach me about discipline and hard work and delayed gratification for sure. It opened up the world to me. And it made me see, although I couldn't have articulated it, that school and that whole thing was just a very small part of it, that there was a great big world out there and I'd find my place in it. It was definitely the discipline and the delayed gratification that you do something and the ultimate success of this thing is not visible for a long time. With the exception of a few bursts of creativity, maybe a poem or a story, I have sat down and banged out the draft of a story, the first draft of a story without getting up, 20 or 25 pages. And it's just the first draft. But for other forms of writing, like you can't do that. I write novels. Like it involves patience and discipline. Like you write and then you have to, like life intrudes and you have to eat and take the dog out and go to sleep and stuff like that. And then you have to get up and do it again the next day. And it doesn't get finished right away. And you have to have the faith in yourself to believe that, yes, you will finish it. You will keep working and you will finish it. But that I think definitely came from those years of, aspiring to something that was very lofty and understanding that, like, you're not going to get there in a day. Or a week or a month. Like this is a very long apprenticeship if you want this.
You've been the fiction editor for Lilith magazine for many years, and you've written many, many, many books. So tell me how being an editor informs your writing.
It's really instructive to be on both sides of the desk. And I think it gives me a sensitivity to writers and a compassion for them. And I have to say no a lot. We are a quarterly magazine. Fiction is not our even dominant, theme. We publish one story an issue and many, many articles and essays and other kinds of nonfiction. So, there's just a limit to what we can publish. And then because we are both a feminist magazine and a Jewish magazine, so then the stories have to relate to both of those things. So there's a lot of no saying. And I am very mindful of how I say no. And I have a letter that goes something like, thank you so much for your interest in the magazine. I'm sorry I didn't find a place for your story here, but I appreciate having had the chance to consider it. And I wish you the best of luck in placing it elsewhere, which is entirely sincere. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean it's not going to work somewhere else. And anyway, who am I? Just like one little person with one little opinion doesn't mean, it just means that. And that's what I tell people, keep sending it out, keep writing and what doesn't work for me may work for someone else. But I do feel, because I have been on the other side, that, a writer in giving you her or his writing is like putting their hot little beating heart in your hands. And you should be respectful of that and careful of that and mindful of that. That just because somebody has written something you don't like or even something you consider really bad, this is not a crime. When you think of all the horrible things in the world people do to each other and whatnot, so you wrote a story that's not very good. At least you tried. I once received a rejection letter and it had little boxes that could be checked and we're not accepting your story because it's too long, it's too short, it's too this. And one of the boxes said it sucked. That was not checked in my case. But even getting a letter with that on the page, I thought was so offensive. I'm already saying no. Now I have to grind you into the dirt? Why? Is that how I'm going to make myself feel better? Making you feel bad? I'm not there. You tried, you did it. I respect that. We are good. Sometimes people do argue with me a little bit, and they say, well, can you tell me why? And I feel like I really can't be involved in doing that. I don't have the time. And sometimes I really don't think it's very good, and I don't really want to say that to someone. I just, say I don't have the time to do that. But, let me tell you my best advice. Keep writing, keep sending. Right? I mean, I'm not good at math, good at words, not good at math. But I know that if you don't send out your work, the chance of somebody finding it and taking it and, bringing it into the world are zero. And if you send it out, they're more than zero. I can't tell you what those actual statistics are, but I know they're more than zero. Right? Like 0, more than 0. Okay. Like make that choice. Make the more than 0 choice, right? You just don't know. When I first started sending out manuscripts, you sent them out by snail mail, right? And the best present I got from my husband, wait, it's right here. Oh, they can't see it. You can. Was a postal scale. So I didn't have to wait forever online at the post office. I knew what I could get the postage I needed. I'd send out 20 manuscripts at a time. And when I got one back, I said to myself, you have to send it out again in 24 hours. Got to get it out there. That takes the sting of the rejection away. Like, okay, they said no, but maybe this place will say yes. And that has worked for me. I am very well published. And I was very persistent. And I know that's hard. I don't say that expecting that it's easy. My husband, who was a visual artist and photographer, he was totally the opposite. He heard no, he went back into his shell, for months, maybe more. But then he had me, like a bossy, scrappy Jewish girl as his wife. And I would push him to do things. And, so I could be helpful in that way. But I think persistence is as important as talent. Like if you have talent, but you don't get your work out there, nobody will know about it. So you have to do that. And yes, it hurts. Somebody asked me in a class, because I do a lot of school presentations, or I did before COVID, and someone said, does it hurt your feelings when the manuscript gets rejected? I love that. I said, yes, it does. It hurts my feelings a lot. And I've had a lot of publication and a lot of success, and it still hurts my feelings when I hear no. You just have to learn to live with that. But even grown-ups who are like good at what they do and successful at what they do, their feelings get hurt too.
Thanks, Yona. We have interviews with dozens of other writers at our website, bookclubforkids.org, on our Writers on Writing page. And if you are looking for tips on how to inspire your kids to pick up a book this summer, check out the website, bookclubforkids.org, for book suggestions and lots of reading tips. I'm Kitty Felde. Thanks so much for listening.